All right, let's start up. The first thing is, and I'm always glad when I'm able to do this, is to come in here and everybody is marked present. See that? Good. All right. They always tell me to check it now. Yep. Okay. All right. If you go to the student view, which is all you've got, but to the student view, hopefully when you bring the system up and you go to this class and you go to main page, hopefully at least it's going to look like this. All right. If for some reason it doesn't, you'll have to let me know. I can't change it right now, but I can change it after class. All right. So this is the Inside Rankin homepage for this class. All right. Now, I want you to see this. I'm not going to read a lick about me in here. You know all this stuff. I was already told, well, if your second class starts at 12:35 or 12, whatever, it's fine. The hours in there are fine. I will actually have 3 different books for this class. They're all free. They're all online. So here, if you don't have them already, here is the thing for the Java one, here is the one for the Muroc one, and here is the Kotlin documentation. Okay, I'm not going to click any of those, but just so you see it. I've already started, and on my YouTube channel, under Java, I already have 61 lectures out here on Java. And I have 81 lectures that are out there. I don't know where they went. I've got 81 lectures that are out there on the Android stuff. All right, Android Java. So that's all out there. I've already got 141 lectures out there. Of course, more will be added. But what I want you to know, if you look on the screen here, while we're in the Java part of the class, I'm going to put everything in there. Once we move over to the Android Java, the stuff will go there. Once we go into the Kotlin, the stuff will go there. Does that make sense? All right. This course description is right out of the catalog. I'm not going to read it. We had our in-service on Thursday of last week in St. Louis, and we went and rewrote the course level outcomes for this course. I will tell you, because this is one thing we have been told we are doing starting in the first semester and every semester thereafter. They want us to be teaching Git and going through it every single semester. So they're going to start using Git already first semester. All right. And the way we're going to do that next year is we're literally going to build a whole website as a class. And we're going to do it with Git. All right. So with you guys too, you already know how to use Git, so I'm not going to go over that. And if you don't, all right, we will go over it, but just not right now. We'll talk about it some more, just not right now. Okay. All right. The big thing that we're going to be working on in here, if you look up on the screen and you look at what's in blue, that's the first month of this class. All right? And that's that Gaddis PDF. I'm going to go over most every chapter that's in there. Not every chapter, but most every chapter that's in there. All right? Then when we get done with that, we move into the world of Android. So that'll be utilize widgets, layouts, etc. And that'll be this stuff. That should make sense to everybody in here. All right? Now, I do want to mention to you, just because I want you to hear this, this is the Gaddis thing that's right here. As soon as it comes up, there it is. All right? So there's the Gaddis one. The presentations that I've already done, all right, I want you to hear this. The presentations that I've already done for PowerPoints for Gaddis are on the 5th edition of this book, not the 6th. Did you all hear what I said? And you might say, well, who cares? You should care because, believe it or not, I think the 5th edition is written better than the 6th is. It's more comprehensive. All right? But there might be times if you happen to go back, let's say you miss class and you go and you look at the where I've already done PowerPoint presentations, it may not totally jive as far as the numbers, etc. All right, when we get to the Android book, I could have had you go out and buy this book. It's not super expensive. I think it's either $45.99 or $54.99. But with today's books, that's not that expensive. But what I did, I've got the second edition of the book. All right. I found the first edition online for free. So it's virtually the same thing, except this version is using an earlier version of Android. Does that make sense? So there might be times when it might look a little different if you look at some of the videos I've already done. All right. And for the Kotlin stuff, because that's going to be way off into the future, I found this under Tutorials Point. They have this free PDF. So that's it. It's 58 pages long. We're going to go over every page of that. That's how we're going to start. Then we're going to actually look at the online Kotlin documentation, which is 237 pages. We won't be taking time to go through every single page in there, but we're going to go through a lot of it. All right? Now, I don't want to sit there and spend a lot of time going over this, but I do want to mention a couple things from here. All right? And that is, let's see, you've already seen the outcomes, etc. You all know the attendance policy because none of you are first-year students. I had to go through this with the last class because I have 2 new students in there. Excused absences, one thing they're saying, and some of you had quite a few excused absences last semester, it's okay. But from now on, what you should do, and this is to protect you and to protect me, is if you're going to miss, if it's a doctor's excuse, don't, literally, and some of you have already been doing this, take a picture of it on your phone or whatever, and send me a copy of that. They're telling us we're supposed to keep it until that semester is done. That's what we were told on Thursday, among other things. All right. Grading hasn't changed. The workload table hasn't changed. If you look on here, for some reason, this is a pre-made template that I have to change. But if you look on here, see this? See how I can't change this? See that? I want to change that, but it won't let me. And so where this says 75, it should say 70. Where this says 5, it should say 10. Did everybody hear that? All right. All right. Any questions you have on anything, you should get a hold of Jeremy. All right. I think that's nothing new. Snow days, it's interesting. I went to church on Saturday, and church was busier than it was at Christmas. Anybody want to guess why? Because everybody thought we were going to get an ice storm yesterday. And I went Saturday night. And even the priest says, well, I think that most of you in here trust your meteorologist. Everybody kind of laughed. All right. But the point is, if you have not signed up yet on the Inside Rankin portal, you should. All right. I had signed up, but I didn't this year. I did it last year, and they're right. It doesn't roll over because it made me sign up again. All right. So if you're not sure, what I heard is probably next Tuesday, they're going to be sending everybody a message from Inside Rankin. School is not going to be canceled, but they're basically going to say, if you got this message, all right, if you got this message, and it's however you sign up for it, email or text or whatever, then you're signed up. And I should get one too, so I will announce it. If you don't get one, then you want to go back into the Inside Rankin portal and check and make sure you are signed up. All right, I'm supposed to tell you that. If I didn't know this until they said it Thursday, and maybe you know this, maybe you don't, Rankin does not announce closures on TV or radio. All right, so, okay, we're going to go through this book fairly quickly, just so you know that. I'm hoping to go through the 16 or 17 chapter book in 4 weeks. Do the math. We're going to do 4 chapters a week. The first chapter in here is, this is hardware, this is what a program is. We don't need to even go over that stuff, as far as I'm concerned. All right? Then we go into chapter 2, and we're going to end up redoing. I thought of starting class like this today, but I don't know if I should or not, but this is what I was going to say. Okay, if you remember, and I know Colin wasn't here for this, but the last semester, the last week, we went over Java, correct? Pretty much. And if I said, how many of you remember everything that we did and feel totally comfortable starting off from right there. My guess is there wouldn't be 7 or 8 hands going up. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm right. I don't know. But I want to show you a few things that I learned during the break, some of them accidentally. All right, but the ways I think you can make your life a little better when you're running this stuff. You may or may not agree with what I'm going to show you, and that's fine. All right, but I want to show you what I did, how I did it, why I did it, etc. All right, we're going to literally start and redo some of the stuff we did last semester. And I'm going to have you turn it in. So in lieu, here's you can all be happy over this right now. Everybody can be happy. You don't have to cheer. You don't have to do anything. I'm not giving you one written test this semester. Not one. All right? But we're going to go over a bunch of different program examples in class. Okay? I'm going to make sure that you turn all those in. And they will be graded based on whether or not they work and whether or not they do what they're supposed to do. The good news is, if you fall behind, they've all of the ones, at least that we're going to do to start with, I've already done them and taped this. So the code is already out there. Some of you, and you know who you are, don't type fast. You know what? I'm to the point, it's 4th semester. What was that thing that typed, that race car, whatever the hell it was? Type racer. I mentioned that. I mentioned Mavis Beacon. And if you haven't done any of those and you type slow, well, I'm sorry, then you type slow. But I'm not going to sit there and wait and wait and wait because 1 or 2 of you are typing. I'm not going to do that. Because I want to make sure that approximately at least the last month, I'm not going to say a flippin' word in this class. You're going to be working on your own Android app. And you are going to write your own specifications for it. You are going to be doing everything for it. And you are going to get nothing but time in here to do that. Also, what I'm planning is it's going to be due May 1st. We don't get done until the 11th, but it's going to be due May 1st. On May 2nd, none of you are probably going to like this. Not Brady, you might. But on May 2nd, each one of you is getting up here and you're presenting your app. And I'm going to try to get about 20 or 30 people in here. Okay, that's fine. You're right. You're right. Okay? It's actually all correct on the syllabus and everything else. Yeah. And it's correct on the attendance. You all know there's no class next Monday. It's Martin Luther King Day. Thank you, Dr. King, for all you've done and for giving us off on Monday, I guess. All right. So, again, there'll be a lot of repetition. But if you say, well, you're going too fast, well, you know what? Take a mental picture in your mind or go back and watch this. All right? And I'm not trying to be cruel to anybody in here, but if we go at the same pace that we did a lot of stuff last semester, we won't get done with this in 4 weeks. If we don't get done with this in 4 weeks, we'll be behind already going into the Muroc book. And if we're behind in there, we'll be behind in the Kotlin. So what gives? That means you won't have enough class time to actually work on those and the Android apps yourself. All right? And I don't want that. Yes. You got your choice. You do it either way. I will tell you, talking to Paul Smith, who is my counterpart with Evan Gudmested at St. Louis, they are totally uncomfortable with me teaching Kotlin. Why? Because they didn't even know it existed until I told them. And I don't care. I think you should be learning the latest and greatest. That's why I'm showing it to you. Plus, if you ever decide that rather than doing Android apps, you'd like to do iPhone apps, going from Kotlin to Swift is not a big leap. They're very similar to they're not the same, but they're very similar to one another. All right. So you can go through here. It's got everything in there. I tried to be consistent. I went through this 2 or 3 times, all right, to try to make sure. So you'll notice notice what we've got due Friday, in-class exercises. We're going to be doing those. I'm hoping to get through and lecture on chapters 1 and 2 today. Then when we're done, we're jumping right in and writing code, okay? And we get all that stuff done, cool. If we don't, then we continue on with it. Then Wednesday and Thursday, same kind of thing. Does that make sense? Then Friday. Notice, First test, in class, hot, chapters 1 to 4, Gaddis. Open book, open notes. I'm going to give you something very similar to the payroll app that we're going to be working on. But it won't be payroll. I guarantee it won't be BMI. I guarantee it won't be miles per gallon. It'll be something else. But it'll be something where you will take all the stuff that's in chapters 1 to 4 and you will create a program based off of that. Does that make sense? Next week we'll do 7 through 8 or 4 through 8 or whatever the heck it is, 4 through 9. I don't remember. If we can keep up at that clip, you're going to have a lot of time to do your apps. Okay? Now, with this app, Paul and I got into a disagreement. It wasn't heated. It wasn't bad. I like the guy. I have no problem with him at all. He's a little different, but so am I. Okay? So we were talking last week, and I said how let's assume, for example, that, and I'm not picking on anybody. She's right in front of me. So Valerie says, for my app, I want to create this automated grocery list. All right? I'm not saying you want to do that, but I'm just saying. Okay? Well, I can go on and I can type in automatic grocery list in the App Store, and I'll probably get 500 hits. Probably 300 of them are free. So I don't want you doing that. All right? If you for instance, I'm going to do a calculator. As long as it's not one of the calculators that's in there, so you're going to do something special that isn't in any other calculator, that's fine. Some of you have already come up and given me some of your ideas, stuff that you want to do. If you've got something that you're interested in, if you've got some kind of a hobby where you actually think, I could probably do this and charge money for it and make money, that's a good thing. All right? So you'll notice that next week it's going to kind of work the same way, except since we only meet 4 days, we'll go through 5 and 6, boom, 7 and 8, boom, but we won't have a test next week. Why? Because we'll have it the next Monday. All right? Does all that make sense? When we get towards the end of the book, we're not going to go through everything that's in there. Anybody know if you write a program with recursion, does anybody know what recursion is? All right. If you've got a recursive algorithm, it's where you've got a method that calls itself. All right? And it can call itself in an infinite number of times. There are a lot of textbooks that don't even show recursion because if you don't know what you're doing, it's the easiest way to screw up a computer. So I'm not going to even go through recursion. If you do go and take a look in here, I did go over the PowerPoint. So if you want to know more about it, you can look in there. All right? I have no idea. I would like us to be able to look at the database stuff for Java, but I don't know how problematic it's going to be with this integrated development environment. So we'll look at it. We'll see how it works. We will go over, I guarantee it, we will go over database stuff with Android. All right. I don't know how much, again, we will in just straight Java. All right. So again, when you look in here, I'm already wasting too much time. But then after that, we go in and we do 9 to 13. And after we get done with that, 14, 15, and 17. 16 in the one you have is recursion. 15 in the ones that I did the videos are is recursion. All right. So what that does is that means that we get into Android in about a month. Literally a month from tomorrow. That's a lot to throw at you in a month. All right? Everybody in here, you can do this. And like I said, the idea is if I spend one day lecturing and doing a combination lecture and us writing programs, then you've got the other day to get all those programs working. Does that make sense? All right. So then we're going to go into the Muroc stuff. Same thing with Muroc. I'm going to cover a lot of the stuff that's in there. There's not enough time to cover every flippin' thing that's in there. So we're going to cover most of it. All right. Then when we get done with that, we're going to go back and do a lot of the stuff we've already done, but with Kotlin. Okay. So that's the game plan. But if you look in here, what I've got at least is come the 4th come the 4th of April, which means it's over a month, whether we end on the 9th or the 11th, and you're right, it is the 9th. But come April 4th, after that, I don't plan on talking anymore. I did build in a week or two in case we do fall behind. All right? But I'd like to give you as much time as I can. All these say the same thing. Every single page. Intro lab, intro lab, intro lab, intro lab, etc. And again, notice 5.2, student presentations. What I'm hoping to be able to do is on that date is to get not just internal people here. That's kind of a waste. I'd like to try to get some contacts, external people, people that you may be applying to jobs for. And this is your time to come in here. The idea is you'll be up here a minimum, that means small as 10 minutes. You will run your app. You can run anything you want within reason. You can run your portfolio. You can talk about the program. If you want to diss me, you can tell me I can leave first, and then you can diss me, whatever. All right, I've heard that next, I think it's in 2 weeks, depending on whether she wants to do it in the morning or the afternoon, I may have to leave for 30 minutes because the course evaluations all of you did last semester, they have to meet with us for a half an hour, everybody on those. If I got 51% or above on a negative question, then I have to come up with a plan on how I'm going to make myself better. Wow. Okay. The last week, as always, will be for the portfolio. Okay? Now, just so you know, too, I know Colin mentioned this before class, that come spring, and I didn't do this semester, but I am going to, is for that portfolio better work in both a regular and in a mobile atmosphere. So I don't care if you use Bootstrap. I don't care if you use anything. It doesn't matter. But when I shrink it down, when I do this, or when I bring it up in an emulator like this, yours better not look like that. Yours better be responsive. That's what's expected of you. Are there any questions on anything that I've said? Anything? All right, then I'm going to quickly go over chapter 1, and then we'll take a break. So let me grab this that we've done so far.